Welcome to Beauty Business Matters. I am your host, Susan Routledge, and welcome to 2026. So, everyone has been asking me what my plans are for 2026. So, I thought, right, I shall do a rundown of what I've got planned and what I envisage for this year ahead. Because for me, it's going to be a really exciting year ahead. I have all sorts planned, including starting to move over to Majorca. So this first year, 2026, I'm going to be half in the UK and half over in Majorca. We found the most amazing place. So I'll be working out there and here, which is going to be really, really exciting. Also have plans to launch a mastermind, which I've been talking about for ages and ages. So that is now launching in the early quarter of 2026. And then on top of that, we have so many events organised with the Beauty Roundup, and also I am doing some events with the Smart Group on Better Business. So there's a lot going on. Beauty Directors Club, still going to manage that. And obviously I also still have the clinic, Finishing Touch, which the team are going to run. So very, very exciting year ahead.
So Susan, what made you decide to create this mastermind now?
The mastermind has come around because I have been asked so many times to create a mastermind, and it hasn't ever been the right time. This year, it is perfect. Obviously, I've got Beauty Directors Club. I also work one-to-one with clients. But there is something around working together as well as individually. So I've created the mastermind to be something quite unique. It includes working with me one-to-one, especially at the beginning. On top of that, there is the group get-togethers. Some of those are going to be in the UK, some are going to be over in Majorca. And on top of that as well, it's going to be following the stable business formula, which I teach everyone. So it's bringing in all the different elements of what I do to make someone's business the most profitable it can be, and as well to make sure that that business is suiting their lifestyle now, because what you created 10 years ago doesn't necessarily have to be what you continue creating. And sometimes when you do get to the point of where you were just coasting in your business, it gets to the point where it gets a little bit boring. So this is bringing in a new ignition into you and your business to follow exactly what your dreams are. To me, it's all around creating clarity first and then strategy second. So it's all around having that vision, giving yourself the permission to create the business that is for your lifestyle now, and to make it the most profitable it can be.
And who is the mastermind really for?
The mastermind is predominantly for salon owners, clinic owners, aesthetic clinic owners who have already created a business and want to take it to the next level. That could be yourself moving the business into a different direction, moving yourself into a different direction. Quite often, as I say, you get wrapped up in what you're doing on the day to day and not looking at that bigger vision. And I always like to say it's so much easier to create wealth in a business that you love, that you're in the flow of, rather than trying to continue on with something that doesn't necessarily still hold true to what your vision was when you first started that business. So I'd say that the mastermind is for someone who, like the mastermind's called, it's called the next level. It's taken both yourself and your business to the next level.
How is this different from other business programs out there?
Over the years, I've created different business programs, probably most well known for creating Salon Success Freedom, which is a business turnaround program which I created around the formula that I trademarked, which is stable. That's looking at every aspect of your business. So you're looking at your cash, your clients, your assets, your team, and you as that business owner, and looking at it from the elements of putting systems in place, building trust, making it adaptable, branding it, putting links in place, and education in all of the elements. That then creates a business where you can step out. It's totally saleable. It's totally can be operated with you there or with you away from the business. So we've brought that element into the mastermind. But on top of that as well, what I've found over the last couple of years, working mainly one-to-one with salon and clinic owners, is that everyone's business is different. So we have at the start of the mastermind an element where for up to 90 days, depending on how we structure it, you have me where we are creating exactly what you want based on vision and clarity. So then you are going into the mastermind with that whole vision just for your business, and then implementing it and working strategies along with everyone else. And it just makes it so much fun. So you have like every element. So you have the program element that you can work along separate. You have the mastermind, the integration of everyone together, but then you also have me one-to-one as well. So it's quite unique what we've created.
What does vision first actually mean in practice?
The reason why I am so adamant about vision first is that because without a vision, you're just creating chaos quite often. You know, you need to have that clarity. You need to have that vision. And that is the hardest part that I find working with someone. Everyone can tell me so much about what they don't want, but it's finding out exactly what you do want. Because I always like to say, it's your business, your rules. You can make a business exactly what you want, whether you want to have quarter of the year off. That is whether you want to double, triple your turnover. That is whether or not you want to downsize that business. That is whether or not you want to step out, profile yourself in another element in the business. You know, it's all around creating exactly what you want, but it has to be vision first. You know, you can have as many strategies in a business, but getting clear on what you want, and it doesn't have to look like anyone else's business. It can be, you know, now there are hundreds of different ways that you can run a business, literally hundreds, and it's finding out what works purely for you and making it so that it is something that is just, you are the expert in that business. You are the one driving that business forwards. You are the one who clients are actively seeking to come to work with you. And once you're at that position, you're in your flow. So that is why we need clarity and vision first.
What transformation can members expect?
You know, over the years, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of salon and clinic owners now. And not everyone wants the same thing. So I work with salon owners who, you know, want to stay in the treatment room and just want to double, triple their turnover and massively improve their profits. I work with, we've created businesses where, you know, a salon owner has totally stepped out of that business. I've got salon owners who've sold their business. We have salon owners who have now take off 13 weeks a year and still have tripled what their turnover. You know, you can literally create what you want. I work with a business where the salon owner works on their own, 1 week on, 1 week off, 1 week on, 1 week off. It's whatever business suits you. As long as we know what you want, we can create it.
And how do you create those transformations?
Transforming someone's business is down to strategy, is down to putting the right systems in place once you have got that vision. Transforming a business can take as little as 6 weeks. It can sometimes be that it just needs to be some tweaks that make the changes. Sometimes it is, larger things that need to shift in a business. But what I try to do is to make sure that the business on the surface still is performing the same. It's normally that underneath the business, everything needs to shift. So it's making those shifts underneath to make that business on the top the best it can be. And the person running that business as happy, as joyful, as financially free as they can be.
Let's talk about stable. What does it stand for?
I created the stable formula and trademarked it probably around about 10 years ago now. And what I was finding was I was working at that point mainly one-to-one with clients. And I found that no matter what size that business was, whether it was a solo operator or a chain of salons, that there were certain things that needed to be put in place and in a certain order. So what was ended up doing was practically walking everyone through the same kind of framework that I've now trademarked. So once it was at that point, I didn't actually realise that I had quite a unique formula. Once I say we put it into place, now it works for any size business, and it just works and makes a business so that it's, to me, a business should be scalable and saleable at any time. And once someone has put and implemented the stable business formula into their business, they can literally have the freedom of choice in their business of how much or how little they want to work in that business. So everyone always asks what stable stands for. So if I'm explaining about a business, I always look at it as similar to a tabletop, so that you have got a business which, and I always like to say, just imagine that this business has got lots of money on the tabletop. Most businesses are out of balance in at least one area, which means that tabletop is on a slant and there's money running out. So quite often, so if you look at 4 areas, you've got your cash, your clients, your assets and your team. Even if you're solo, you still have a team of accountants or other people around you supporting you. And I always imagine you've got your business owner in the middle, you in the middle, trying to keep this all in balance. So you have businesses where they have got too many staff, not enough clients, money's running out. Or you can have too much money in a business, not enough investment in equipment, money's running out. So it's finding that balance across all. So I always say, like, the legs underneath the business are what I say are like the stable part, the foundations. So once you have systems in place, which is the S, you have trust in all of those areas. The business is adaptable in all of those areas. I always like to say you need to have a plan B and C, and that was no more, it came about rather than when we went into lockdown. Having a plan B and plan C was so important then. So you've got systems, trust, adaptability, branding is the B, linked, who you're actually working with, and then education in all of those areas. Once you've got those foundation legs on your tabletop, keeps it in balance, you can then step out the middle of your business, jump around in it, go on holiday, and it'll all still operate fine because you've got it all set in stone underneath.
So why combine manifestation with business systems?
Anyone who knows me knows that I live by manifestation. I always, to me, if you know, people say, "Oh, I don't really manifest." Anyone who's got a business or even any kind of job, anything, you at some point have thought about that and brought that into your head. That is really where manifestation starts. It's creating that vision of what you want and then making it happen. And it always, the clearer you can get on what you want and start to envision that in your head, what it feels like, what it, imagine yourself in that environment, then you can start and create it so much easier, and I look at that, where we are moving to in Majorca. The place is identical to what I envisaged. I've got a vision of it, a picture of it, and it's exactly what I envisaged. And so I always live my life by manifestation, and I say never ever fails. So having that clear vision to me is the way forward. If you don't know where you're going, it's just like driving a car with no lights on. You've got to have that vision, got to know where you're going.
Can you give us an example of stable in action?
Using the stable business formula, I'd say I've probably worked with, I'm not quite sure how many 100 businesses have gone through the programme now. It's taken businesses from originally when I first founded and brought her into the business, the beauty business world stable. At that point, it was normally when someone had got their business into a bit of a pickle. I'd get called in when things weren't going right in the business, and putting the formula into a business, normally within a matter of weeks, we could transform that business from being underperforming, demotivated team to being, well, if we use one example, there's a business I've worked with who I still work with now, went from a demotivated team, underperforming, the treatments were all out of sync. There was offers all over in the business. It took us 6 weeks to take all of that out, turned around. Now, 10, 12 years later, that business still runs with the same team, highly motivated, with the most amazing owner who had bought that business originally. The business runs perfectly. It is hugely profitable. It's grown. It's just the most amazing, beautiful business, and it aligns with what that owner wants, and the team all feel part. And yeah, so it's just once you've got that formula in your business, it's just, and it doesn't take a long time.
You've been out of day-to-day operations for 17 years. How did stable make that possible for you?
When I very first stepped out of my business, I've had my business 38 years now, and we are still in a small town. We are 14 miles from 2 cities, so we're just a small town. When we won UK Salon of the Year, I really thought we'd cracked it. It was the first time a UK salon had won in a small town, had won against all of like the big city salon names out there. And at the time we also had a team of 12. Everything was absolutely fantastic. I thought I had just cracked it. So the idea was that I would step out the business. And I just thought that was going to be easy. So when I did, I found very quickly that the business wasn't sustainable without me being there. So I jumped back in again. At the same time, I was very, very fortunate in that I met a business mentor who does mergers and acquisitions with businesses. I'd always been fascinated about how you could have two businesses and them look identical on the surface, one be doing phenomenally well and one crumbling underneath. And when I spoke to him, he at that point, and still does, buys businesses that are underperforming, buys them for £1, turns them around, sells them for sometimes millions. And at that time, I thought, right, what I'll do is, so I stepped back into the business and I thought, right, I'll learn from this business mentor. At the same time, I had this ambition, instead of stepping out, what I would do is have the chain of lovely salons and buy all these underperforming salons. Instead, what happened was, what I learned was what I then made into the stable business formula, all of the things that I was learning that you put into a business to turn it around fast and to make hugely profitable, I then put into my business and then realised that formula would work in any other salon business. So I then put all of the changes of the stable formula into my business, stepped out, and then instead of taking over salons which were underperforming, I then got to love helping them transform their business. So instead of ending up with a chain of salons, I've still got my business, which I successfully stepped out of now 17 years ago. At the same time, started to help and turn around other businesses. And that is how I used the stable business formula in my business, but then to help create great businesses and make them perform so well.
What's the biggest mistake you see beauty business owners making?
There are a few mistakes that occur over and over again when I start working with businesses. The biggest one is that a salon owner, business owner can tell me exactly what they don't want, but they can't tell me what they do want. And they always keep going back to what they don't want. And it's I keep saying, if I had a magic wand, what do you want? And that is the hardest point, finding the true sweet spot. And that's what I love doing, finding the sweet spot of what lights that business owner up and what they truly want to create for the future. So the first thing that I see salon owners going wrong with is not having a clear vision of what they want and giving themselves permission to, and quite often they don't actually know. So it's finding that, as I say, that sweet spot. Second thing is, I'd say, chasing clients and bringing in lots of new clients, but then not looking after clients correctly and letting them flow out the other side. And instead keeping focusing on bringing in new clients, but not focusing on those great clients that are already there. So the nurture process, I think, is something that has to be very, very key. One other thing that I find happens is that someone tries to run that business the same way that they did a few years ago. And business is ever evolving, ever changing, and you just have to keep adapting and staying ahead. One other thing is trying to do things alone. I always have a business mentor, always, and you need someone who has been there, done it, and it's just a few rungs ahead of where you want to be. Always have someone that you can look up to and learn from. And also, trying to do things alone. We in Beauty Directors Club, we have the most amazing community of beauty salon and clinic owners, from solo to salon owners who've got chain of 4 or 5 salons, all together supporting each other, having that support network where there are no egos and it's just pure support, and everyone there to champion your wins, but also as well to pick you up when you're feeling down. So I'd say, never try to do things alone.
So you're moving to Majorca. Tell us about that decision.
So my decision to move to Majorca has been something that I have thought about for many years now, not particularly Majorca, but the option to move around, and I just absolutely love traveling. There is also something in being in just lovely weather, environment. And, years ago when we started having the beauty directors business boot camps over in Malta, and now they're in Malaga. When we started doing that, there's just something about being away from your business and being in an environment where you're out in fresh air and just in an environment. To me, there's something about just looking out to sea, and just that's when I get all my best ideas, and I just feel like I am in my best energy. So the idea originally was that I would be in the UK a month and travelling a month, because there's only Steve, my husband, and I. We don't have a family. And then we were at the point where it was like, right, what do we do? Do we carry on like in the UK, or do we just think about selling up and moving? So we went over and had a look at some properties over in Majorca and just found the perfect place. It's direct access into the sea, steps into the sea, the most amazing views, huge terrace balcony where now I can do consultancy out there and just sit in fresh air and help people strategize and business and plan and their business for what they want to do. So it's a win-win, because for one thing, flights are so cheap to and from to Palma, to the UK, and I need this, especially this next year, to be back in the UK for all of the beauty roundup events that we do, and also I'm doing better business events with the Smart Group. So we've got I'm back and forth to the UK all of the time, but it's quicker and easier to do that than trying to get from some parts of the UK down to Birmingham to London and different places. So to me, it's a win-win. I'm going to be in the UK, also in lovely Majorca, and be able to work from anywhere is what I teach someone. I teach that you can be away from your business. I've got a great team who are going to carry on running Finishing Touch Clinic. Beauty Directors Club, I can operate that from whether I'm in the UK or in Majorca. The mastermind, we can operate that both in the UK and over there. And things like this, like the podcast, I can just come over and batch with all my guests, batch days, record. So it just seems the perfect time and the perfect opportunity.
Is this you practicing what you preach?
Yeah, this is the thing with moving to Majorca as well. I teach people to be able to leave their business and operate from wherever they want to be, I think I am practicing what you preach. I always like to say, you're not your business. It just has to be your very profitable, lucrative friend that can look after itself and everyone else while you're away. Moving abroad's not for everyone. But it just feels perfect timing for me. So yes, I do feel like I am practicing what I preach.
So how does moving to Spain actually work with running your UK business and the mastermind?
I am blessed to have a absolutely fantastic team who run my clinic and have done so for the last 17 years without me being there. Some of the team have been there 15 years. We also have new team members as well. But because I have systemized the business to operate whether I'm there or whether I'm not, it just means that, as it is now, I am away a lot of the time. I'm away working with other businesses, working with different brands. So it's very rare that I am actually in the clinic now. We now have great things like Zoom, so I can Zoom wherever I am. So literally, the business all of my businesses I've designed so that I can be anywhere I want to be, and at the end of the day, if I need to fly home or be in the UK, it's easy. So 2 hours away, 2.5 hours away.
When did Majorca first appear on your vision board?
Majorca, I always have a vision board, or I always know exactly what I want. And I knew exactly what I wanted. I just wasn't quite sure where that was going to be. So originally I'd thought about possibly being, all I envisaged was that I would still be able to get to the UK back and forth whenever I wanted, easily. So it wasn't that it was Majorca that I was drawn to, it was the vision of what I wanted, and Majorca fits into that. So originally I'd looked at mainland Spain. Majorca, it's just such a beautiful, beautiful island. I love it.
So what does the next stage of your new life look like?
Whilst I am out in Majorca, it's going to be business as usual, really. Just in a far nicer climate. So at the moment, I do spend time with clients on Zoom. So that won't change. Beauty Directors Club, we have weekly social sessions. I also invite guests on, and all of that, again, is via Zoom. In Beauty Directors Club, we meet up. That's not going to change, whether that's in the UK or over there. We've done things in the past like climbing mountains and things. Now there's lots of hiking we can do over in Majorca. So, the businesses are just going to run as per normal. It's very easy, again, once you've got the vision for what you want to do, to create the business around what you want to do. And that's what I'm doing with this new life, both in the UK and in Majorca.
What's the business lesson here for beauty business owners who feel trapped where they are?
Feeling trapped in a business isn't healthy. It is, at the end of the day, you are not your business. Your business is a separate entity. There's only one of you, only one life that you have. And to me, it has to be that your business fits into your life. There are so many business models now that work perfectly for exactly where you are in your business journey and business life. I've seen all too many times where someone has put that business before themselves to the detriment of their health. And I've seen this where, it's resulted in people quite young having strokes or being ill. At the end of the day, I can't reiterate enough, you are not your business. Your business has to be something that just funds your lifestyle and creates and enhances the life that you want to live.
How do these things connect? So you've got Beauty Directors Club, Finishing Touch Clinic, the Mastermind, the podcast, and the Beauty Roundup events to Stable, and your move to Majorca.
Everyone always says to me, how do you fit everything in? You're always doing so many things. You've got so many different elements to what you do. And I do have, I have Beauty Directors Club, I have the clinic, I have, the mastermind starting now. We've got the podcast, we've got the events as well. So there's a lot going on, but it never feels like it's a lot. And then one-to-one clients as well. It never feels like a lot, because it's because I'm doing what I love. And, if you are happy in your flow of what you want to do, then it never actually feels like work. I also make sure that I have plenty of time where I'm out in nature, whether that's walking or now it's going to be walking next to the sea. That to me that's the time when all great ideas come. So it's getting that balance. I am very good at structuring time and making sure that I stick to what I'm doing. Otherwise, sometimes, yes, it can feel like I'm juggling a lot of plates, but, they all stay spinning quite nicely. And, it just all feels nice. So I don't see the fact that I run several things together as a detriment. I find that they all just marry and work together.
What would you say to someone thinking, that's easy for Susan, but that's not possible for me?
A lot of people say to me, it's great. You've stepped out of your business. You've got other businesses. But I couldn't do that. I couldn't leave my business. And I would say you could if you wanted to. It's just a case of getting clear on what you want. Doing what I do wouldn't be what someone else possibly wanted to do. When you know what is perfect for you and you are in your flow, that's when you can be hugely profitable at what you do. It's very hard to make money consistently on something that you don't enjoy or that's not resonating with you, and you're not waking up and hugely excited for the day ahead. So what I do, I love, and obviously it works out to be hugely profitable, but anyone else who finds exactly what they want to do can do exactly the same and be hugely profitable. And that doesn't mean working lots of hours. It doesn't mean, having to build a huge team. I work with businesses where solo operators can be making a lot more than someone who's got a team. It's just getting into that flow of what you want and deciding what kind of money you want to make, what kind of time off you want to have, and making and creating a business that is perfect for you.
What should someone do if this conversation has resonated with them?
So if what I've been talking about has resonated with you, then, 2026 could be the year that you do start to make the change, which could be a huge change, could be a small change. But, make 2026 so that it's the year that you excel at what you want. It's 2026 to me is going to be a fantastic year, and I'd love to work with you, or, have a conversation, see whether what I'm planning for my 2026 resonates with what you plan for your 2026. And if you want to join us on the mastermind, learn more about Beauty Directors Club, or say just have a catch up on where you want to take your business, then happy to jump on a call. We'll put in the show notes information to have a chat. And here's to a fantastic 2026 ahead.